Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys. Now, first of all, I'd like to say a very happy Thanksgiving to all of those who are celebrating right now. Hope you have a really enjoyable and happy few days because, yeah, it has been a tough week. It's been a really difficult week. The loss against Chelsea, it hit us all, and it hit us all very hard indeed. But today, we're going to be trying to bounce back. We're going to be talking about the upcoming game against Alaves. In my opinion, there's going to be some changes to the lineup. We're going to be talking about those. We've also got a lot to talk about regarding Lamine Yamal and his current situation, especially following on from the Chelsea game. And as well, there's no Ronald Araujo this weekend. He is absent against Alaves. What is going on there? There's lots to unpack. So get ready and let's do this. Now, today's video, guys, is coming to you courtesy of Manscaped, because why don't you just shave away the pain? Just get it all out there at the end of the day here, because you know what, right now, on Manscaped's website, they have 25% off, and not just on one product, not just on selected items, it's on everything. A site-wide 25% off sale. So that is something definitely to take advantage of, especially right before Christmas. Right here, this is a golden opportunity to get gifts, to get things just ticked off. And also, guys, something you should be aware of, the lawnmower, it's 100% waterproof, which has been really valuable for me since I've been spending a lot of time crying in the shower recently. So please do check out what Manscaped has to offer. I know this isn't an easy time for Barca, but you will enjoy these sales. Thank you indeed for all of your support, and go and have a look at that now. But indeed, guys, back to the matter at hand. And why don't we start with an injury update? I mean, why not? You know, at this point, let's just get it all out there. Like I say, there's going to be no Fermin Lopez. He is going to be out for 2 weeks of action with a slight injury that he picked up in the aftermath of that Chelsea game. And this is why, you know, and even Hansi Flick said it, to be fair. He said, judge us when everybody is fit, when everybody's back and available. And you know what? That's just not going to happen. You know, we can't just think here, oh, we're going to wait until every single player is back and not injured. There's always going to be somebody, because even when you're getting a few players back now, Rafinha's back, which is fantastic, you lose another one, because this team is playing so many games, so many minutes. At the end of the day, somebody is always going to be suffering, and usually that is Barca. But hey, let's try and stay on the positive road here. However, speaking of Hansi Flick, I thought it was really interesting in his press conference right here today. Again, just defiantly defending the style, and in particular, the high line. I would say that is the number one thing here, that in the media, it does irritate him when people talk about the high line, when they talk about the fact that that could be an issue in the team. Again, he said right here today, people on the outside, they don't know how we want to play. It's not just the fault of the defensive line, the midfielders, the forwards. They've got to press as well. In training, we're doing well. The injured players are coming back, and we're in good spirits to improve in every match. And to be fair, Flick keeps saying, look, it's not just about the defence. And I think we all understand that. If we're criticising the style of play, it's not just because we think it's all the defender's fault. But at the end of the day right here, how many more games, how many more days are we going to say, oh, yeah, the rest of the team have got to do more. We've got to press, you know, we've got to start pressing. When is it going to happen, though? You know, because we keep talking about, oh, yeah, the forwards, they're not doing enough. The midfielders are not pressing to make this style work. But yeah, if they're not going to do it, the style is flawed. So until you get them pressing, we may be seeing it in training, we may be seeing it every day, but if it doesn't happen on match day, it is all pointless here. That pressing has to be right. And if it isn't, there has to be another way, because if you don't get that right, the whole thing falls down indeed. So yeah, we can keep talking about it, we can keep highlighting it, we know where the problems are, but when is it going to change? Because I would also like to talk right here about Lamine Yamal, guys. Now, of course, in every game, Yamal is the highlight. You know, he's the one that really is focused on by the media. But of course, after the Chelsea game, I think something really interesting and maybe unexpected happened. He wasn't the main man. He wasn't the young player whereby all the praise was going his way, all the spotlight was on him. Of course, there was many headlines that we saw that Estevao upstaged Lamine Yamal, that he actually outperformed him on the night. He's a young player, he's an incredibly exciting player, and many people now are saying maybe he could have a higher ceiling than Yamal. Could he surpass him this season? Is he a better player than him all round? And although that's frustrating to me, in my opinion, Yamal, for me, what he has done at his age, it's unbelievable. No young player out there right now has been doing what he has been doing, particularly looking at last season. But in my opinion, all of this talk, all of this feeling after the Chelsea game, it's not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing, in my opinion, for Yamal to maybe hear, oh, there's other young players out there. There's other players that the media are going to be talking about. There's other players there that have a lot of quality, a lot of potential. They can go very, very far in the game. I want him to see that now. I want him to understand nothing is handed to you. We know his talent. If he is at his best, if he is driven, if he is motivated, if he gets the best out of his talent, nobody will touch him. He is untouchable at his best. But you've got to work to stay there. You can't just expect to get by, and you can't expect here to just coast from season to season. You need that hunger. And what I'm hoping now, this talk about Estevao, the feelings that he had on Tuesday at Stamford Bridge, I want that to light a fire in him. I want to see the motivated, hungry Yamal to go out there and be the best player that he can be. But the problem right now as well, not just mentally, but looking at the physical side, is he still struggling with that groin injury? We know that he's suffering with it. It's something there that doesn't go away overnight. It needs managing. It needs physiotherapy. So Yamal, out on the field, sometimes he looks a little bit laboured. It looks as though sometimes he can't be as explosive as he wants to be. And just a suggestion, and many people have started to wonder about this, is there a time, is there a moment where you bring Yamal in field a bit? Because looking at the game against Chelsea, he wasn't involved, at all. He was out there on the wide right-hand side. We couldn't get him the ball. He was isolated. He was also struggling, I would say, to track back and help out Jules Kounde, which can also be an issue. Is there a moment in time now to say, okay, what about Yamal in the 10? Because certainly in that area, he's going to see way, way more of the ball. It's going to be easy to supply him with passes there. He can receive it in between the lines. He can still be incredibly creative. He can also get shots away on goal, of course. There's so much that he could do, in my opinion, in that area. And especially as well with somebody like Rafinha coming back into this team. You've got Rashford available too. There's lots of different options here for Barca. And I just wonder, because of this groin injury, because at times he's not able to be as explosive in those wider areas, are there games, are there moments here, maybe in a game like against Alaves, where you just try it out? You just see how it would work, how it would flow with Lamine Yamal in a more central area. However, guys, now we must move on to Ronald Araujo, who I should say straight away, he didn't train yesterday. There was no news at all from the club. Wasn't in training yesterday. Didn't train yet again today. And what we started to hear in the media is that basically Araujo, he's been really affected after the Chelsea game. He was very down in the dressing room after his sending off, and now in the days that followed, basically, he just hasn't been there. He hasn't felt like maybe being in training. Now, today it's interesting that Hansi Flick says he's not going to be available at the weekend because he has a stomach bug and he will be out tomorrow. We will see after that. Morally, Flick said we've all been down. We've all been hurt. The defeat against Chelsea has been tough for all of us. So make of that what you will. Maybe Araujo does have some stomach issues. Maybe he's not able to play this weekend, that it's just a bit of a coincidence that this happens right after the Chelsea game. But in my opinion, it's a little bit worrying in terms of the mentality here, because if you get sent off in a massive Champions League game that Tuesday was for Barca, if you get sent off for a stupid tackle, and it's not the first time with Araujo, I'm sorry, you have to expect criticism. You cannot think that you are playing at the biggest club in the world, in my opinion, but the biggest club in the world, huge fan base, huge expectations. You are expected to do better, especially as one of the experienced players, as one of the captains of the club. And let's not forget here, you are paid well to do it. You are being paid the big bucks, and don't forget as well, Araujo, he wasn't quiet about talking about his future, about his contract situation, when it was there ramping up the speculation about would he be at Barca, would he not be? He wouldn't be drawn either way until he got that nice new contract. He also did a lot of talking after the PSG red card when Gundogan called him out. He didn't like that. He didn't accept responsibility there either. So now, I'm sorry, you've got to take some responsibility. You've got to front up to, that was a mistake. And I think, like I said before, if we heard from Araujo, if we saw there, ultimately, I hold my hands up, I made a mistake, there would be a lot more respect there right now. But I just think here, he's not going to be there this weekend. You know, we don't know what's happening with him. Is he ill? Is he not? Is he just not in training? We don't know. But I just think right here, you are at a massive club. This is what happens at Barca. The standards are high. You can't expect to make repeat mistakes and just get away with it. Be paid very, very handsomely. It doesn't work that way. And like Flick has said there, we were all hurt by it. We were all affected by that game on Tuesday. Do you think those Barcelona fans who left the game were feeling good about themselves? Do you think us at home, you know, all of us here right now, you think we feel good all week? We certainly do not. We are all hurting. We are all stinging. But the only thing that we can do is look to bounce back. And the only way you can do that is by getting back out there. Now, in terms of the team news ahead of this Alaves game, I thought it was interesting that Hansi Flick said just before here in the press conference, Christensen is a real possibility to start this game. So I think Christensen is definitely working his way in here with Araujo's absence, with that real uncertainty at centre-back in general. Could we see Christensen starting in this one? I thought it was also great to hear Flick say, I've really missed Rafinha. You know, he openly came out and said, look, I have missed him so much. He's such an important player. And he also said about Rafinha, he's one of the most focused players in this team in terms there of locking in, working hard, providing for the team. He said he's hungry to show just how good he is. And it's going to be great to see Rafinha back. And in my opinion, it might be time for him to be in the starting lineup. So let's have a look at exactly what that team could look like. Because in goal, of course, we will have Joan Garcia, who, to be fair, couldn't have done a great deal more, you know, against Chelsea. He was under siege there, so many shots coming his way, so many dangerous situations right in front of a goal. So Joan Garcia, he's going to bounce back, and he is, I'm sure, going to play very well in this game. For me, I would go at right back with Eric Garcia here. I think, you know, Kounde, he's still not really doing enough. He's still not really looking convinced. So like I say, at times, he's a bit isolated out there. He doesn't get a great deal of help on that right-hand side. But for me, Eric Garcia should play out there. Christensen at centre-back alongside Kubasi, in my opinion. Alejandro Balde at left-back. There could be Gerard Martin. Depends on really how much you wanted to change things in this game. But my backline there would be Eric, Christensen, Kubasi and Balde. Because then in midfield, I would bring in Marc Casado alongside of Frenkie de Jong there. I think Casado has been sort of cut out of things, but at least you know what you're going to get with him is a bit of fight. You know, he's going to go out there, he's going to try and impose himself on the game. He's certainly going to put in the hard yards, he's going to run around, he's going to do the closing down. That's exactly what we need right now, in my opinion. And then, could we see Yamal in the 10? You know, I do think this is a game where you could try a few things, because I would start Rashford on the left-hand side, I would start Rafinha on the right-hand side, and Yamal, I think he could play in that 10. And I think then you've got a lot of quality in those attacking areas, and you also have a lot of energy as well. That is the key right now, with Robert Lewandowski leading the line. Ferran, for me, he drops to the bench. I think right now, let's stick with Lewandowski, let's have those players in behind him. He will get chances, and I believe he is capable of finishing them off, which is absolutely the key. But yeah, this is a team that should beat Alaves. It should be a decent response to the game against Chelsea, but of course, there are bigger tests that are going to come. So that right there, guys, is everything ahead of Barca versus Alaves this weekend. It has been a tough week, but I really do appreciate all of your support right here. And let's just hope we can get back to winning ways, because we have a big game next Tuesday against Atletico Madrid at home. So I will see you soon with lots more to come here on the channel. Thank you indeed for all of your support. Please do go over and check out what Manscaped have to offer. 25% off site-wide. I'll see you soon. But until next time, as always, Veshka, El Barça.